Hi all, Once a Future Gamer here and welcome to another Pokemon challenge. Last time we did Pokemon Pearl with a single Ponyta, a run that wasn't without its challenges. Today though, we do something different. We're back in Gen 2 and we're going to answer the question of whether or not I can beat Pokemon Silver with a single Togepi. What do you want me to say about Togepi? Other than it's a baby Pokemon, so naturally it's quite weak. If this were Gen 6 then it would be Fairy type, but because this is Gen 2 and Game Freak were still patting themselves on the back for introducing the Dark and the Steel types, and those were the laurels that they'd rest on for a few more generations yet, we're just normal type. Togepi has a base stat total of 245, which is the same as Nickit, Noibat, Rookidee, Starlit and Zubat, those absolute paragons of power. Of our stats, the best are defence and special defence with 65 in both. Our special attack isn't too bad, relatively anyway, with 40, while our HP is 35. Our speed and attack both stand at 20, so we're going to struggle to fight our way out of a wet paper bag. Our natural learn set is, well, I can't really repeat the words I want to use less than a minute into a YouTube video, but suffice to say, we'll be making use of the TMs in this game. We don't start with an attacking move, and to call Metronome an attacking move is generous. We do get that at level 7, so the start of the game until then is going to be painful. We do get double edge at level 38, and that's probably about as good as it gets. On the TM side again, in terms of attacking moves, there's not a lot. We might have to make do until we can get to the Ilex Forest and the Headbutt TM for some consistent, if weak, damage. Return might be useful once again. Once we can get it after the first gym, Mud Slap will be useful, and when you're having to drop phrases like that, you know things are bad. Shadow Ball might be something we have to utilise for power, because most of the best moves we could get, like Zap Cannon, Psychic or Toxic, they aren't until the post game. In terms of the rules then, in combat I can only use Togepi. I'm going to need other Pokemon for HMs, but they'll be unable to fight. Beyond Pokeballs and held items, I can't use items in battle to make things easier for myself, but outside of battle, it's fair game. Last of all, no cheats, glitches or exploits. Comment on if you think I can do this or not, or even if you think I'm a madman for trying. I reckon that if we get to a high enough level, we might be able to beat the league. I think Blue and Red might make Eggs Benedict out of us though, so we'll have to see. I choose to replace Chikorita with Togepi, which will give our rival Cyndaquil. Typhlosion has the highest base stat total of all the final evolved Johto starters, and so will probably be the hardest to fight. Given we don't have any specific advantage or disadvantage over any of them, this seemed the best way. When I get the Togepi, I nickname him Egg Boy in honour of the Togetic that I used in my Pokemon X randomizer Nuzlocke. Now the issue with Togepi, as I've already stated, is we don't start with any attacking moves, just Growl and Charm, which is awful. So I have to cheese it to Cherry Grove City and purchase as many potions as I can before I head out onto the route where Mr. Pokemon's house is and start draining our PP on Pokemon that don't have attacking moves. Because this is Silver, that would be Kakuna. Unfortunately, there's only a 10% chance of them appearing, and I need at least 2. We can't always escape before taking damage either, so there's lots of trips to the Pokemon Centre. The Kakuna will run out of PP before I do, so I need to run as soon as they start struggling. I need to have struggled to have any chance of levelling up. At least I get one eventually. It puts me halfway to level 6. Also, the error I made, not buying antidotes. I can't escape from a Weedle and end up getting poisoned. I faint and have to start from scratch again. This would have been easier on Pokemon Gold. Heh, live and learn. On Pokemon Gold, this would have been Caterpie and Metapod, not Weedle and Kakuna. On the plus side, this would have been quite bad if we were Fairy type, because getting hit by Poison Sting would do us for super effective damage. Eventually, I do hit level 7 and get my hands on Metronome. Literally anything can happen now, and it's probably all we're getting until we beat the first gym damage-wise. I get Egg Boy to level 10, and as I'm leaving Cherry Grove City, some suspicious redhead shows up and challenges to our first trainer battle. He throws out a Cyndaquil and it outspeeds Togepi to land Tackle. I use Charm to cripple its attack before starting to use Metronome. First move is Psybeam. That's not bad. Shame it does less than half its health. Second move is Rain Dance. That wouldn't be bad if it was a bit more developed to know fire moves, but alas, it doesn't. Third move we come up with through Metronome is Earthquake, which knocks Cyndaquil out. Well, that could have gone a lot more worse indeed. At level 14, I decide to make an attempt on Faulkner just to see how he stack up. The problem isn't levels, it's getting good moves from Metronome. I could go at him and get 2 electric attacks. I could also get Splash or ground moves that won't do diddly to him, so it's a gamble. Anyway, he starts with Pidgey and I go for Metronome. It gives me Whirlpool, which misses. Second Metronome is Disable, which stops it attacking for a turn. Third Metronome is a pretty useless Leech Life, but the fourth turns into Icy Wind, which knocks Pidgey out. I only took 1 Mud Slap in the interim, so that's not bad. Pidgeotto comes out next, and Metronome becomes Flash. Useless. Next one is Horn Attack, which doesn't do too bad damage. Next one is Psybeam, which looks psychedelic with Pidgeotto's colouring. Next one is Fissure, useless at the best of times. Final one is Mega Punch, which knocks Pidgeotto out. Well, that was gruelling. Still, Mud Slap TM in hand, I at least have something consistent for dealing damage. Minimal damage admittedly, but consistently minimal damage. There is no major fights until I get to Azalea Town, and then it's the choice of Rival Fight number 2 or Gym number 2. Mind you, there is one pleasant surprise in the Union Cave as I happen across the TM for Swift and replace Metronome. This will be infinitely better. At least I can be consistent now. I also lose Growl for Sweet Kiss. When I get to town, I decide to tackle Bugsy first just to see how we match up at level 23. I get the impression his Cypher might be rough. Metapod is easy, it goes down to 2 Swift attacks, only hardening in exchange. There's a heart in the mouth moment versus Kakuna as it lands Poison Sting, but Egg Boy shakes it off and finishes it with 2 Swift attacks. Last up is the dreaded Cypher. It starts by missing Fury Cutter and I go for Sweet Kiss before I start to wreck its attack with 3 Charm attacks. It does land Quick Attack in Fury Cutter and does decent damage even with -6 attack, using those repeatedly, but after 3 Swift attacks it does go down, and that's 2 Badgers. Let's go face Rival Rod again. The Ghastly fight, for want of a better term, is horrific. It outspeeds us and keeps putting us to sleep. When we wake up and hit it for half of its health with Mud Slap, it puts us back to sleep and uses Spite on us to wipe out Mud Slap's PP. And with no other way of hurting it, I have to keep it confused until it knocks itself out. Zubat is easier, it goes down to 2 Swift attacks before Quilava is last. It hits us with a lot of Ember attacks, risking this egg being boiled, but we take it down with 3 Swifts. I try to confuse it, but it doesn't do me a whole lot of good. Not that it matters. Let's move on anyway. At level 31, I go pick a fight with Whitney in Goldenrod City. Now her Miltank is fearsome, but I reckon if I can cripple its attack and accuracy enough, I might be fine. I've got the Quick Claw equipped. Attract might be an issue due to Egg Boy being, well, a boy. And Attract is a huge issue. I 2-hit the Clefairy before making the bad choice to go Mud Slap on Miltank. It does minimal damage and it uses Stomp before going for Attract, and we don't get another hit off as it stomps us to death. I should have gone for Sweet Kiss. Ah well, at least us getting knocked out means I don't have to worry about Egg Boy's happiness for a bit longer. The second attempt goes a lot better. Clefairy goes down the same way, 2 Swift attacks and only getting hit by double slap in exchange. When Miltank comes out, I confuse it and then proceed to drop 6 Mud Slaps and 3 Charms on it before I start hammering it with Swift attacks. It doesn't use Attract, which helps a lot, but beyond the first few stomps it fails to hit us and I doubt that it would do much damage even if it did. Using Charm and Confusion tactics might seem counterproductive, but it's more about preventing the attack than getting them to seriously injure themselves. Prevention is better than the cure after all. Anyway, 3 Badgers down. I do a lot of training for the Ghost Gym. I fight all the trainers to the west of Ecruteak City, to the north of Mahogany Town too, and also I clear out the Lighthouse. I utilise the Rollout TM2, replacing Charm, because I figure we're going to need more than Mud Slap to beat Morty. As it is, even at level 42, I don't feel we have a reasonable chance, but I guess we'll see. I get very, very lucky. We hit first against Gaslit and crit it with Rollout. It takes 2 Rollouts to knock out Haunter number 1, but, and this is crucial, it twice misses Hypnosis. Gengar we hit first with Rollout and 1-hit it, and then do the same to Haunter number 2 to take it down with little difficulty. What was I worried about again? I get the Surf HM and head out across the sea. Next gym will be tricky. Togepi is weak to fighting types in this game. I make an attempt on Chuck. If this proves tricky, I might go back and sort out the Team Rocket hideout before doing this gym battle. We'll have to see. Primeape is 2-hit with Swift. It fails with a Leer attack, while I get 2 Swift attacks off on Poliwrath before it lands a Dynamic Punch, and we hit ourselves 3 times in confusion before it finally lands a second one and finishes. I think this can be done at this level. I was quite unlucky there. Let's try it once again and see. The second attempt is closer. I utilise the same tactics against Poliwrath, going for Sweet Kiss to confuse it, but it keeps putting us to sleep, even after I use Mud Slap to ruin its accuracy. When we both end up asleep and confused, the writing is probably on the wall, but eventually it knocks Egg Boy out with Surf, and I figure I'll come back later at a higher level. Out of curiosity, I see how we do against Jasmine. Not well would be my guess, but I make the attempt. Mud Slap does decent damage to Magnemite number 1, but it does paralyse us. We eventually finish it with a second Mud Slap after being hit with Thunderbolt. The second Magnemite confuses us. Eventually, we take it down with a pair of Mud Slaps. Then we face Steelix. We're paralysed. We've got 5 HP remaining. It very quickly knocks us out with Iron Tail. Okay, I head over to Mahogany Town, then do the Team Rocket hideout. Actually, while I'm back in Ecruteak, I go face the rival in Burn Tower. It goes easy, but not surprisingly considering the level difference. Haunter takes a Mud Slap before fainting itself with Curse. Magnemite goes down to Mud Slap, while Zubat goes down to Swift. Last is Quilava, who tanks a Mud Slap before landing Ember. I finished off with Swift. I clear out the Team Rocket hideout and tackle Price, might as well while I'm here, and this one is simple. I start roll out up on Seal and it takes 3 attacks to take it out, during which time I get clipped with Icy Wind and Aurora Beam. Dewgong comes out next, and although I get hit with Aurora Beam, 4th rollout takes it out. Last is Piloswine, and the 5th rollout, 1-hit KOs it, so that's my 5th badge. Just need to do either Jasmine or Chuck now to progress the story, so that's a choice. Back in Olivine, I make another try at Jasmine at level 54 just to see if that makes a difference. Well, first Magnemite misses Supersonic and I knock it out with 2 Mud Slaps. Second Magnemite misses Thunder Wave and I knock it out with another 2 Mud Slaps. I get 6 Mud Slaps off on Steelix and somehow it still lands Iron Tail throughout. A move with historically less accuracy than a Destitute Gambler. Eventually, she knocks Eggboy out after healing with a Hyper Potion. That is going to be a real issue unless I can start inflicting more damage. I went for rollout hoping for some cumulative damage, but it wasn't happening. I wonder what level I'll need to beat Steelix, because it's not happening 20 levels higher. Also, how is the canonical 6th gym leader sporting higher level Pokemon than the canonical 7th one? I know that it's a pretty open-ended game, but still. I go back across the sea and I face Chuck again. This time, his Primeape is 1 hit with Swift before Poliwrath comes out. I Sweet Kiss it and it fails with Hypnosis before I blast it with Swift for just below half of its health. It tries and fails to attack, hitting itself in confusion before I quickly finish it off with a second Swift. Doesn't solve my Jasmine problem though. Worst case scenario, I might have to go get Fire Blast from the game corner. I'd rather not resort to that though. I get Eggboy to level 60 and make another try at Jasmine. It's a traditional fight in which I manage to knock both of the Magnemites out with a single Mud Slap each before facing Steelix. I try to keep it as confused as possible with Sweet Kiss while peppering it with Mud Slaps. With about 4 Mud Slaps left and having about a third of its health left, she heals it. I do get good confusion luck, but it does manage to land several Iron Tails through Mud Slap, which is annoying given my experience of the move is that it couldn't hit the broadside of a barn on a bright summer's day. Eventually, I run out of PP on Mud Slap and go into rollout. It takes 5 turns of it, but the last one thankfully knocks Steelix out, and that is my 7th badge. Now to deal with Team Rocket in Goldenrod City, during which there's another rival fight. He's not that tricky. Golbat is first and gets hit with rollout, surviving to land a wing attack. A second rollout takes it down. Next is Magnemite, who survives the 3rd rollout and fails with Thunder Wave. That was fortunate. 4th rollout takes it down. Haunter is 3rd and the 5th rollout knocks it out. Next is Sneasel and it lands Feint Attack before getting hit twice with rollout to take it down. And finally is Quilava, who gets hit by the 3rd rollout and goes down for the count. Next is Blackthorn City and Dragon Leader Claire. This one might be tricky. There's a huge level and strength jump from Gym 7 to Gym 8. I make the first attempt at level 69 and it's nearly a smash and grab. I can 2-hit all of the Dragonair with Swift, but the first one paralyses me and we get hit constantly from Dragon Breath throughout. I get Kingdra to within a tiny piece of red health thanks to 2 Swift attacks before it finishes me off with Surf. I need another level or 2 I reckon. If I can avoid getting paralysed then this will be easy. This is another gym that would be easier if I was Fairy type. Mind you though, if I was, the Steel gym would have been 1,000 times worse, so we'll take what we can get. I grind up and make a second stab at Claire at level 42 and it does start off better. I 2-hit the first Dragonair with Swift attacks, it misses Thunder Wave on me. I go for rollout to try and build up power on the second Dragonair and it does land Thunder Wave as well as 2 Thunderbolts before I 3-hit it with rollout. It goes bad against the 3rd Dragonair as rollout misses and then I get fully paralysed, all while it lands Ice Beam attacks before I eventually 2-hit it with Swift. Last is Kingdra. I get tagged by Smokescreen and a pair of surf attacks, but 2 swifts are enough to take it down. Of course I have to go into Dragon's Den and get the Dragon Fang, but that aside, I've completed the gym challenge. In Victory Road, there's a final mandatory fight against Rod. It starts off well as I go into roll out, there's a Sneasel and 2 hit it. It only lands a weak Fury Cutter in exchange. Golbat gets smashed out by the 3rd one before Magnet on his neck, and it survives with what has to be a single point of health from the 4th one. It lands Thunder Wave and the 5th rollout takes it out. I 2-hit Haunter with Mud Slap. It misses a Confuse Ray on me, which is handy, before Kadabra goes down to Swift. Finally, it's Typhlosion, and it starts to unravel here as Paralysis kicks in 3 times, all while I'm getting hammered with Flame Wheel. Eventually, I 2-hit it with Swift. Rod runs off as I've destroyed his worldview. At the Pokemon League, I replaced Mudslap with Shadow Ball, and look at our stats at level 77. 192 HP, 196 attack, 169 defense, 115 special attack, 154 special defense, and 19 speed. So yeah, we can take hits, but we are going to have some issues. Will might not be too bad. I can see Bruno hitting us hard. I reckon we'll struggle to knock some of Koga's Pokemon out, and well, Karen is probably going to annoy the crap out of me with her tactics, so I'm not confident, but maybe you think differently. First up is Psychic Trainer Will. First Xatu goes down to Shadow Ball. Jinx goes down to Shadow Ball. Executor goes down to Shadow Ball. Slowbro actually survives and uses Amnesia before Swift takes it down. And the second Xatu goes down to Shadow Ball. Well, that was easy enough. Next is Poison Trainer Koga. This really could have gone worse. Ariados is first and Egg Boy misses Rollout while it double teams. I go for Rollout again and it 2-hits it. Ariados lands a Giga Drain in exchange. 3rd rollout 1 hits Venomoth before Forretress comes out, and this was the one I was concerned about. It uses Protect, my rollout fails, and I Sweet Kiss it before landing a weak Shadow Ball. It hits itself in confusion a few times, and I land 2 rollouts on it before it explodes, but we tank quite well. Rollout hits Muck, but it uses Minimize, and we missed before I blast it with Swift. Last is Crobat, and I land a Shadow Ball on it for just under half its health in damage before it double teams twice. Oh no, if only I had a move that always hit. Oh wait, I totally do, and I land Swift for the knockout. Phew. Fighting Trainer Bruno is the 3rd opponent. Hitmontop goes down to 2 Swift attacks, landing only a weak dig in exchange. Hitmonlee gets 1 hit with Shadow Ball. Hitmonchan survives Shadow Ball, but lands 2 Mach Punches before I finish it off with Swift. Machamp tanks Shadow Ball and lands a Cross Chop, which nearly knocks Egg Boy out before I put it on red health with Swift. Bruno uses a Max Potion, but 2 Swift attacks take it down. Last is Onyx, who I do slightly under half its health in damage from Shadow Ball, but it Earthquakes me for the defeat. Okay, I figured that might happen. Let's get a few more levels and go again. In the rematch against Bruno, it plays out very similar to before. Hitmontop gets 2 hit by Swift, landing Dig in exchange. Hitmonlee goes down to Shadow Ball. Hitmonchan to Shadow Ball and Swift, landing Mach Punch in exchange. I hit Machamp with Swift and it misses Cross Chop, thankfully, before a second Swift takes it down. Last is Onyx, I hit it with Shadow Ball before it throws Sandstorm up. A second Shadow Ball puts it on red health before it lands Earthquake. Swift finishes it off. Last is Dark Trainer Karen. Umbreon is a massive pain. I Sweet Kiss it to try and avoid Sand Attack and it fails with the move. I Swift it and then it uses Confuse Ray, causing Egg Boy to hit himself a few times while Umbreon lands Sand Attack. I finish it off with 2 more Swifts. Next is Vileplume and I go for Sweet Kiss to avoid a status move. It breaks through Confusion and lands Sunspore. It shakes Confusion off at the start of the next turn and inflicts 3 turns of Petal Dance on me before I can take it out with Swift. Next is Gengar. It goes for Curse and I'm fully paralysed. My Quick Claw kicks in at the start of the next turn and Shadow Ball promptly misses, meaning I go down to Curse damage. That was annoying. I make another attempt a few levels higher. Hopefully, I get a bit luckier from being a bit stronger. Second attempt goes really badly as I miss Sweet Kiss on Umbreon and get blasted with Sand Attack before a second Sweet Kiss misses and I get hit with Confuse Ray. I eventually take Umbreon down, but it's a pain. Vileplume is 2 hit with Swift, but I'm lucky it misses Stun Spore. Gengar uses Curse, but I land Shadow Ball to finish it. Murkrow is 1 hit with Swift, and last is Houndoom. I land Swift for most of its health and it fights back with Flamethrower, all while Curse damage chips away from our health. Karen then heals with a Max Potion. I call her a word that you shouldn't really call a woman ever, and then I use Swift again. Houndoom survives. Egg Boy goes down to Curse damage. The third fight is a carbon copy repeat of the second one. I get beat in exactly the same way. Curse damage taking me out versus Houndoom after she heals it on low health. Fourth attempt, I'm at level 92 and decide to screw Sweet Kiss since it keeps missing. I blast Umbreon with Swift and it misses Sand Attack. I finish it off with another Swift. Next is Vileplume and I hit Swift. My luck doesn't hold and Stun Spore lands. It uses Moonlight but doesn't recover that much health before Shadow Ball takes it down. Gengar uses Curse but Shadow Ball takes it out. Murkrow lands Feint Attack but goes down to Swift. Houndoom uses Flamethrower but Swift manages to one-hit it. Phew. Last is Champion Lance. How do we think this went? Gyarados is 2-hit with Rollout, landing a strangely flaccid Hyper Beam between the two moves. First underlevel Dragonite comes out and gets smashed into by Rollout. Second underlevel Dragonite comes out and goes the same way. Aerodactyl is 4th and gets flattened by Rollout, though it does land a Hyper Beam. Charizard is 5th and I have to start a new Rollout sequence. It survives on red health and retaliates with Flamethrower. Burning Egg Boy before the second Rollout takes it out. Third Rollout smashes into his final Dragonite and it survives before countering with Outrage before the fourth Rollout takes it out, and we are the champion. Of course, there's still 2 fights to attempt, and so we head to Kanto. As we saw on the Marill Challenge, the gym leaders of Kanto aren't particularly challenging until we get to Blue. As we do get the first 7 Kanto badges though, Egg Boy hits level 100, and these are the stats. 128 in regular attack, 224 in defense, 154 in special attack, 204 in special defense, and 118 in speed. So, well, there's some positives and some negatives. We might be able to beat Blue, but I think Red might be a bridge too far. Mind you, Blue wasn't that bad. Pidgeot goes down to 2 rollouts, using Mirror Move and Exchange to deal weak rollout damage. Alakazam landed Psychic, but went down to rollout. Rhydon was 2-hit with the final 2 rollouts, but threw up Sandstorm, which deals decent damage to Togepi. I have to start to give him rollout this as Gyarados, and it does me a huge favour by using Rain Dance to get rid of the blistering sand. 2 hits take it out, just as 2 hits take down Executor, though it does land Leech Seed. Last is Arcanine, who uses Extreme Speed before the 5th rollout takes it out. Shall we make this attempt versus Red then? First attempt is pretty much over as soon as it starts, with Pikachu using Charm and then paralysing me with Thunder. I do eventually take it down, but get beaten by Espeon's Psychic attacks. If it uses Charm, I've got no chance. I do get a run where Pikachu doesn't use Charm, but I get paralysed by Thunder. I take down Pikachu, Espeon and Snorlax, all while paralysed, and inflict massive damage on Venusaur before getting taken down by Solar Beam. I'll give it another few attempts before calling it. It's one of those fights where too much needs to go for me, but we'll see. More attempts and I get brickwalled by Venusaur, and ultimately decide I can't be bothered spending more time on this. So yeah, challenge complete. I beat the league and Blue, so, well, this happens. Thanks for joining me on this run. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all the regular stuff that you do at times like this. I'm still relatively new at this and every little does help. Join me next time when I'm going for a potentially horrible one as I attempt to do Pokemon Red with a single Rhyhorn. If you have enjoyed this and want to suggest potential challenges for future videos, then they can be submitted via the comment section on my Twitter page. So yeah, we're almost out of time. I guess that all there is to say is that this has been Once a Future Gamer, and I will see you next time. Thank you so very much for joining me. Take care now.